video, we have considered lookup functions where we had to look up values from a table. But in this video, we're going to look at another method of looking up these values. Instead of using the normal VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions that we have, there are other functions that can help us retrieve values, either their positions or the actual values where they are. But in this video, we're going to focus on the match and the index functions. So let's start with the match function. What is the match function? So the match function basically searches for a specified item within cells and returns the relative position of that item. So for example, if I want to know what position in this array is the TVs, so what position from here, 1 2 3 4 5. So if I do a search here, I want it to return the position here that it is at the third cell, counting this array starting from 1 here. That's to take these laptops out 1 2 and 3, and it will return 3 for me. So if we look at the match function, we'll see that it takes a couple of arguments here. So look here, we see that we have 3 arguments here. We have the lookup value, that is what value are you trying to fetch here, for example in this list of items. Then the lookup array, which is everything here, the array which we want to, or the list of items you want to look through. And then the match type, whether you want an exact match or an approximate match. So the kind of approximate match you will choose will determine whether it is sorted in ascending or descending order. So let's look at each instance of this. So let's try and look up a value using the exact match. So let's look at this example now. Let me just put in one of these items here. Let's say the lookup value I want to look for is TVs. So I'll put TVs here. Say this TVs. So let's start writing our formula. So the syntax as usual, start with the match, and then the lookup value, I want to look up what is here. Lookup array, I want it to look through this list of items here. Then I put a comma, and then what match type? Now I want it to be an exact match. If I put this 1, it shows it finds the largest value that is less than or equal to the lookup value that must be placed in ascending order, while the exact match does find the value that it exactly equals to. So in this example, I want to see the value that is exactly equals to, so I would choose this, and then I will close my brackets, and when I put on enter, it shows me 3. That means 3 is on the third row as far as this list is concerned. If I change this to camera, you see that it gives me the position, the 4th row, as far as this list is concerned. 1 2 3 4. That's what I get. So that's just a simple lookup. This is replacing your normal lookup where you get the actual value, but now we're just getting the position in relative to whatever list we're looking through. So that is one example of the match function. Let us see another example. Now our lookup value can also give us an approximate match, like I said, but what it returns will be determined if the list that we're looking through is sorted ascending or descending order. So now if we want to look for an approximate match, it's what we are going to get will be determined on how we sort our list and what our goal is. So for example, if I want to look up, let's say for example 30, in our case here, I want to look up this number 30 here among our quantities, and I want to look up in this list that it should check the category where our value is less than, because 30 falls in between 29 and 33 in our list here, which is sorted in ascending order, that is from smallest to biggest. So I want our value to fall between here and here. So that means 29 is less than or equals to our value, but our value is less than 33. So it is not, the upper limit is not included. So it cannot be 33. What you will have here, let me just write it out. It will be 29 is less than or equals to our value, which is 30 here, and that is less than the upper limit is 33. So what we're doing here is that we're looking up this value, and in this our list, the lower limit, which is 29 here, is included, but it is included up until the upper limit, but not including the upper limit. So that, and this is sorted in ascending order. So that is when you will use the approximate match, where you can use 1. You know, here we use 0, but here you will use 1, or you omit it. So let's just see how that works now. So we start this using the match function. Use match, and then what is our lookup value here, and then we want to look through this range as usual, and then we will now look at an exact match. Now I can, an approximate match. Now I can either put 1 or I can leave it blank, and that's because for approximate match lookup values, when it is sorted in ascending order, you can omit the 1, because by default it does it sets it to 1. So you can set it to 1, or you leave it blank, it will still be set to 1. So but I'll just put 1 there so that we don't get confused. And when I click on enter, okay, let me put my lookup value I put before was 30. So you see that I get 3 with this position here. If I put a number that is below the lowest category here, which is 12, let me put like 10 here, it tells me not available, because our value, our lowest category is less than or equals to the value. So if I put a value that is higher than our highest category, let's say 40, it returns the position of our highest category. So that is the approximate match when you are working with ascending orders, with values in ascending order. You are using the match function. So if you want to work with values in descending order, it's the same thing, just a few things will be reversed. So for this other one, let's say we're trying to find a number between these two, so between 47 and 3,300. So let me put 4,000 there. So now what I'm saying here is that my number is 13313 is less than the value that I need here, but that value is less than or equals to the upper limit, which is 4748. So that means this, my lower limit, is not inclusive. It's not inclusive. So if I put any digit that is lower than this, I'll probably get an any value here, just like I did when I put a number less than the less than here. So like when I put this number here, you see that any number lower than this, I was getting an any value here. So the same thing will probably happen here, but let's define the function and see. So we start with the match function, because this is what we are looking up, and then we want to see, look through this range, and then what is going to be our argument. So here our category that we're looking for is this value, looking from here down to this value, but not including this value. Remember, here we were including this value here, but here we're not including this lower limit. Lower limit is not part of it, it's the upper limit that we are including. So from the upper limit here to this lower limit, but not inclusive. So we're going to use a -1 here. So if you look at -1 here, you see what it says: find the smallest value that is greater than or equals to the lookup value. The lookup value must be, the lookup array must be placed in descending order, which is what we did. So once I do that and I close this, so I do that and I close this and press enter, see what I get here. When I search 4000, it gives me 2 because it comes here. And remember that -1 returns what it says, it returns the smallest value that is greater than or equals to our lookup value. So here, if you see here, instead of returning, you see here, it returns 2 for us because this is the smallest value this is the smallest value that is greater than, sorry, let me just check that, smallest value that is greater than or equals to our lookup value. So that's why it returns 2 here, because this is the smallest value that is greater than or equals to our lookup value. And this was only possible because we had already sorted in descending order. So depending on your use case, will determine which one you want to do and what which of the matches you will use, whether an exact match or an approximate match. Let's just quickly look at the index functions. Now, what do we use the index function for? We use the index function is mostly used in combination with the match function. So you use the index and your match to look up an item and then return a single or a full column or row of items. So that's why I made sure we looked at match before we did the index, because a lot of times you will use your index along with your match. So with your index, you can do a one-way lookup to retrieve a single value, or you can do a one-way lookup from any orientation. So let's look at different examples. Let's start still using this table that we have here. Let me just copy this and paste it down here so that we have it here and put it here. Okay, and I'll scroll down. Okay, so let's look at an example of this. First start with the index, and then the index takes 2 forms. There's the array way and the reference way. And this example, using your one-way lookup, we're going to use this first way where you put your array and then you put your row number and your column number. But since we're doing a one-way lookup here, so we'll only use our row number. So first of all, the array is what array you want to look up. So in this particular example, what I want to see is that I want it to check here. You should check here and then but return this amount for me. So when I put the lookup value I will give will be the item name, but what I want it to return is the amount for me. So what I'm doing here is index, and then the array, this is where I want it to return a value for me. And then now in this row number is where we will now put the match, because I want it to look in here and find this. So what we did with match here, we'll just put in the match here. And then what lookup value do I want? I want it to look up this value. What is the lookup array? I want it to look up this array. And then what do I want? I want an exact match, so 0. And then I just close that. And once I close the other one, press enter. What does it return? We have camera and we have the price here. If I change this to laptops, and we see that I have the amount returning here. So I told you, remember I said that the index function works a lot of times with the match function. So instead of using your this, we could use the VLOOKUP to get this done, but instead this is another way to get it done, which is the index and the match. Now this index function, it also works if we're using an approximate match. So let's say I want to I'm looking up these values. Let me sort this from largest to smallest. Okay, it's okay this way. Smallest to largest. So I want to get this. I want to get some amount looking at this quantity here. So if I come here, let's say the amount I want to get is 30. So I want to see the amount for 30. So what item has like up at about 30 of it here? Or let me create another instance. This might be a little bit confusing. Let me just create another instance. Okay, I've gone ahead to create this that we have here. So we have different pipe sizes and to be used for certain land areas. So we have different amounts, different sizes of the land for the different pipe sizes. These are in inches. So now I want to get, let's say, an approximate match where I'm looking at the lookup value I want to look is the pipe size. So I want to see a pipe size of, say, 7. So you see that 7 is in between this, and this is sorted from the highest to the smallest. So if I'm trying to find 7 and I sort it highest to smallest, and I use my one of the approximate matches like -1, just like we used here, like -1, you see that it's going to give me a value that let's check it out and see. So let me just put 10 here. No, let me put 7 here, which is what I want to find. So I'll just use my index function just like I used earlier, and then my array, which is the array I want to look through. So the value I want it to return is there. Then in my row number, remember, just like the other one, I start using my match, and then what do I want my match to look? It should get the lookup value, which is this here, and then what's the lookup array is here, and then the match. So this is sorted smallest to biggest. So we want to see the smallest value that is greater than or equal to our lookup value. So put -1. Our lookup value is 7. So the smallest number that is greater than or equals to lookup value. So can be, okay, let's see, there's a typo there. Let me correct it. Okay, then I need to put another parenthesis. Okay, I've corrected that, and then click on enter, and then what do I have there? Pipe size for, when I put 7, it returns this for me because it's returning the smallest value that is greater than or equals to the, look here, remember, smallest value that is greater than, or equals to the lookup value. So in this our range here, I remember we're not including the lower limit. So if we're not including the lower limit, so the smallest value that is greater than or equals to our lookup value is 7. The smallest value that is greater than or equals to that there is 10. So that's why it returned, let's put -1 here. So that's why it returned, let's check this out. Okay, sorry, put -1. So that's why it returned this here, 83,000, because this is the smallest value that is greater than or equals to our lookup value. So you see that I used it for the exact match and I used it for the approximate match here. So that works. And in all these instances, we're doing just a one-way lookup. So where we're looking up just one value to get some other value. But we can also do something called a two-way lookup, where we are looking up two different values, and then to get one other value. So let's look at an example of a two-way lookup using the index and match function. So now in this example, we want to use we're going to have two lookup values. I want to, let's say, find the match both ways. So we want to look, for example, camera, and then look at this column and then find the match, which will be here, and then return that value. So let's look at how it's done. So here we're going to have created this here where we have the item and the quantity, which are these categories that we have here, and then we want to find out the price. Let me format this correctly so that you can know that it's currencies we're talking about. So I want to find the price here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the index function, and then the index, the first thing I want to see is the array. So we'll see every possible selection in this range that we have here, which is our array. Then now for the row number here, we're going to first use a match function, and then our match function, what are we looking at? Looking at our items. Remember, we want to look for camera, so our lookup value is this here. Where are we looking up the values from? We're looking at this range here. And then what do we want to see? We want to see an exact match, because remember it's camera, so an exact match. And then we put 0 there, and then click that. That's giving us our row number. Then we need to put in our column number. Our column number will put another match function there. What is our lookup value? We're looking up this value here. Then we want to see what array. We're looking at this array here, and this array, if you notice, is sorted smallest to largest. And then what value do you want to see? Want an approximate match. So since it's sorted smallest to largest, we're going to use 1. Remember, smallest to largest finds the largest value that is less than or equals to the value, so it must be placed in ascending order, which is what we did, and then it gave us. So we close this, and then we close the other one, and when we press enter, what do we have here? For camera, we look at camera, and we look at this category. So this category, this match came and fetched camera. This one came and fetched this category in the 10 position. Click on enter. Came and it fetched this category in this 10 position, and then it gave us this amount. So let me change this to tablets and see what I get. Tablets, and see what I get. So tablets, it came here, came to tablets, came to this point and checked tablets, and then returned this. If I put 22 here, let's see. Okay, let me put 27, so it will give me something else. So look at tablets, 27. Of course, it came here and returning something less than this 25, because remember in this one, if you look at the formula here for this, where we put, where's the number here? I'll put 1. What does it do? 1 finds the largest value that is less than or equals to the lookup value. So the largest value that is less than, our lookup value is 23, is a 27 here. The largest value that is less than or equals to this is 25. So that's why it returns 23 for us here. So here we have done a two-way lookup using the index and match function. And remember, all these index functions we have done, we were using just this first one where we had the array, the row number, and the column number. And the first example we did just using the row number because we're using a one-way lookup, but here we're doing a two-way lookup, so we use both the row number and the column number to fetch something for us.